Hello everybody, Sarah B here. I'm going to be leading you through a sequence today that will ease you through symptoms of PMS. So any cramps that you might have in the lower abdominal area and any tightness in the lower back as well. And hopefully it's also going to ease any stress you might have, any hormonal stress, and perhaps any tiredness by doing a few opening up of the chest poses as well to put a little bit of zing into the day. But mainly this is a very comforting, very slow sequence with long held poses that I hope will help you ease the symptoms in the lower abdominal area. So I want you to begin sitting cross-legged. I've got a blanket. Also make sure that you have 2 blocks as well. So pause this now to go and get a couple of blocks or a couple of big heavy books. A blanket or a towel. I want you to use the towel to elevate your hips. So put the towel underneath your 2 sitting bones to lift yourself slightly up. Make sure that you're really sitting on the front edge of the towel. And cross your legs with your right leg in front. And bring your feet a little closer towards me and move your feet a little away from each other so that your ankles are underneath your knees. We're going to start with a couple of very gentle, easy side stretches. So bring your right hand to the floor with your fingers pointing away from you. Bend the elbow and drop your shoulder as you bring your left arm overhead. And let the left hip drop towards the floor. Slightly look up towards the ceiling or even slightly down towards the floor, but make sure that you're not dropping your right ear down too much. You're holding the weight of your head with your neck nice and evenly. And then come to the other side. So bring your left hand down in line with your hip. Again, bend the elbow, drop the shoulder and lengthen the right shoulder, really pressing your fingertips away from your right hip as you let your right hip drop. Press your feet down here slightly. So you've got a grounding feeling. And then come back up to center. Bring your left hand onto your right leg, coming into a twist. Your right hand on the floor behind you. Very often when people twist like this, they move the chest and the chin and the nose forward. Try and twist evenly around your spine so the crown of your head is over your tailbone. Now twist to the other side. And you're not being overly ambitious here. You're not trying to really improve your yoga practice in any way. You're just here to ease and lengthen the lower abdominal organs, anything that's tight and pressing, nurturing yourself to ease. And come back to center and come into a forward fold. And again, not ambitious, just to lengthen your lower back. Bring your hands to the floor. You might actually have your hands quite close towards your feet here. If you can, come forward. Very, very slowly, bring your hands to the floor. If your head is quite far down, you can use your block as a perch for your forehead. If that's still too low, then you can stack your fists onto the block to give a little bit more height. Then you can rest the weight of your head and relax your neck. A few more breaths here. You might find as you stay here for another 3 or 4 breaths that you can maybe move the block slightly away if your lower back eases and lengthens a little. Let your lower back feel heavy, let your tailbone drop towards the floor. And then come up, so firm your abdominal muscles to help you come up, knit the lower ribs, bring your navel to your spine, push up. I'm going to do all of that, changing the cross of the legs. So lean your hands back, bring the left leg in front. And again, try and bring your ankles under your knees. And do a side stretch. So bring your left hand to the floor, bring your right arm up. Drop that right hip. You might be able to come down a little bit more now. And maybe even turn the left ribs under, open up the right ribs so that your chest is more facing up towards the ceiling rather than down towards the floor. Relax and ease the right hip, dropping it towards the floor. And then come to the other side. Right hand down, bend the elbow, drop the shoulder and lengthen the left side of your body. Even breathe into your left lung as you bring the right ribs under, drop the left hip. Really breathing into all the left lower back, the side body, a little longer, a little looser. Come all the way up, and then the twists. Right hand on the left leg. Again, twisting around your spine with the center of your head above your tailbone. And then come to the other side. Now come to center. Press your feet down, bring your hands to the floor. You may just stay up here, or perhaps you can come forward enough to stack your fists. If you are stacking your fists, make sure you're changing whichever fist is on top this time. Relax your shoulders. You know that you're going to be here for a good 20 more seconds or so, so at any point you might feel that you can actually lengthen the distance between your head and your tailbone by moving the block forward, or just moving your hands perhaps a little bit more forwards. And really bring your attention to your lower back and release it, let it be heavy. Now, bring your hands back. Good. And sweep your legs around so that you can come into cobra. So you're going to move the blanket or the towel off the mat, come to hands and knees. Excuse me. Bring your hands by the sides of your waist, pubic bone on the floor. Press your legs towards each other, but not dramatically so. Just make sure that the inner thighs are engaged. You don't have to have your legs together. And then peel your chest off the floor, press your hands back. It's quite a lot of energy needed and upper body strength for this pose, but it's a really nice way to lengthen the lower abdominal muscles. A little bit of a stretch and ease to them. Now come halfway down and then come up one last time. Then come into downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under, push your knees into the floor, come to hands and knees first, tuck your toes under and press back. And in this down dog, put a little bit of fluidity into it. So bend one knee and let the other hip, the hip of the straight leg, go out to the side. And then bend the other knee, and again the straight leg, that hip moves out to that side. Do it again. First side. Keep your arms straight and strong, keep pushing your hands forward. And then that second side again. Now come back to hands and knees. We're going to do twisted child's pose. Bring your left hand a little closer to the center of your mat under your nose. And then scoop your right hand underneath that arm, underneath the left armpit, and bring the side of your head to the floor. Keep your bottom up, and you can move your left hand to whatever position feels good for you to be able to press it down as you reach that right arm long, coming into a really nice twist. And you're compressing the lower abdominal organs as you lengthen your lower back. And bring a nice stretch also into the outside of your right shoulder. And we can get kind of tense, especially when PMS is really hitting. The shoulders can start to rise up towards the ears. We can get headaches. So this will lengthen the muscles in the upper back and the neck. Really rest the weight of your head down. And then come to twisted child on the other side. So drag that right hand back, bring your left hand, sorry, your right hand to the floor, bring the left arm under, and again the side of your head comes down. Press the back of your hand down, press your left fingernails down, and as you push your right hand down, maybe you can twist a little bit more. Slightly press your knees towards each other. Then come back to hands and knees. Walk your hands a little bit more forwards and bring your forehead towards the floor. Now if it doesn't come to the floor, again get your block and place it coming into puppy dog, Anahatasana. Again, bottom straight up, but press your tailbone down towards the back of your knees. You don't need the block. Just bring your forehead to the floor. And again, remember, you're not doing your best ever back bend here. You're using this pose to help bring some ease and some calm. Then from here, come back to hands and knees. And we're going to do child's pose, but slightly differently. If you find when you do child's pose that your bottom is quite high away from your heels, feel free to either double up your blanket and put it underneath your forehead, and then you've got a better chance to kind of topsy-turvy your bottom down. Or if you want, you can bring the blanket underneath your heels, or even more towards the backs of your knees for more support as you come into child's pose. Now before you do, we're going to make fists and put the fists into the lower abdominal area. So I'm just going to turn so that you can see me better. If it's comfortable for you and you can do this quite strongly, then bring the little finger edge of the fists into your lower abdominal area, kind of sort of where the uterus is, where you would imagine the ovaries to be as well. And then come down like that. If that's too much, then make the fists more so that your knuckles are in, your hands, your palms are facing in towards your body. And let that press in and come into your thighs as you come into the forward fold. Your knees can be a little apart here. Remember, you've got the blanket underneath your seat or your forehead if you feel like you need a little bit more support. And stay here, and the pressure of your fists is going to ease off the cramping. If it doesn't, if it actually makes you feel worse, for some it might, then take your hands away and just put your hands by the sides of your feet with your palms facing up. And stay here. Let the lower back ease open. You need to be here for about another 30 seconds. This is a really nice way to calm the mind. Incidentally, if you have a knee injury or an ankle injury and you can't do this pose, you can do it upside down, which looks like this. Lying on your back, drawing your knees in towards your chest. It's pretty much the same pose, but you haven't got gravity putting a lot of weight onto your knees and your hips and your ankles. So this is a good alternative. I'm going to come back to the first way. A few more breaths here. Stay wherever you are. And remember, at any point, if you find that you really get a lot of benefits out of any one particular pose in this sequence, pause. Pause the button on YouTube, and then you can stay longer. Now to come out of this, press your toenails down, raise your head, raise your chest, come back up to kneeling, and do bring your knees in towards your chest. So if you're already doing that, then keep that. Everyone else, if you were in child's pose, sort of the classic pose, then bring your hands now onto your knees and separate your knees and draw your knees in towards your chest. And if you want to move a little bit to the left and the right here, give yourself a back massage. Do that. This is really nice. If it makes you feel a bit sick, a bit seasick, then don't do it. Be still. Now coming to windscreen wipers. Bring your feet down to the floor, to the outer edges of the mat. Bring your arms down by your sides like you would do in Shavasana. And then drop both of your knees over to the right. So you come onto the outside edge of your right foot and the inside edge of your left foot. If you're tired, just leave your arms where they are. If you want to take this a little bit further, then bring your arms up overhead and grab your left wrist. Then move your left arm over to the right so you get more of a stretch on the left side of your body. But make sure that at least your right arm is completely on the floor. So you're not having to expend the effort of keeping your arms in the air. I want you to be able to relax. You're just getting a little bit more stretch on the left side of your body if your left arm is over and around the left side of your head. Now push your left hip away from your left rib cage towards your knee, your left knee, and push your left knee forwards. Now we're going to do the other side. So release your wrist if you've got it grasped. Bring your feet up. Arrange your feet tidily again to the edges of your mat and drop your knees over to the other side, to the left. Grab your right wrist if you're doing this and gently bring your right hand over more to the left side of your mat. Breathe into your right lung as if your right lung went all the way down to your right knee. few more breaths here, deep, nourishing breaths. Now press your feet down, release your wrist if you have it, bring your arms down by your side and bring both of your knees up. Now cross your right leg over your left leg, completely crossed over, so there are no gaps in between your legs if you can do that. And then draw your knees in towards your chest, left hand on the first knee, right hand on the knee that's further away, and then as you peel your lower back off the floor a little bit more, draw your knees in towards your chest. And again, use this just to lengthen the lower back, not to sort of have that ambition of having more flexible hips. Today you're just working on the ease and the lengthening and the therapeutic effects of the sequence. Now take your hands away, uncross the right leg. If you need to bring your feet to the floor to do this, feel free. Right hand on the left leg, left hand on the knee that's further away, and draw your knees in. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Relax all the muscles around your mouth and your eyes. If you can draw your knees in a little bit more and it's comfortable, then feel free. Take your hands away, uncross the left leg, bring both feet to the floor, roll onto your right side and come up into a seated position and get your blocks. 2 blocks or 2 thick books or 2 quite firm cushions, and put your blocks like this. So you're on the lowest height of this block, kind of towards the back of your mat, and east-west, and then the second block the same, just a little bit more towards the back of the mat. Now, this block is going to come underneath my 2 shoulder blades, the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, and this is a rest for my head. So, position yourself with your bottom parked just ahead of that first block, and leaving the blocks where they are, you're going to position your body over them. Maneuver yourself so that the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, kind of where the bra strap line is, comes onto the block, and then rest your head. If you've got a ponytail in that's at the wrong height, then take it out and just rest your head like this. Then bring your arms down by your sides. Keep your knees bent throughout this pose with your feet on the floor. You can stay like this, or if you want to open up your chest a little bit more, feel free to put your hands around the block, or perhaps, if it feels all right, bring your hands onto the floor behind you. But you know what? I really recommend that you just bring your arms down by your sides and you let yourself just sort of open up your chest here. If, by the way, you don't have blocks, you can always get another yoga mat or roll up the mat that you have and put it lengthways under your spine with the top of the mat as a pillow for your head, from your tailbone to the back of your head in a straight line. Or roll up your towel and do that. A few more breaths here. Just opening up your chest, easing your shoulders. Then bring your elbows down by the sides of your body and push your elbows down. Pick your head up, bring your chin into your chest. Come all the way up. Move the blocks out of the way. You're going to come into a lying down twist. From here, elbows back down, head back down. There are various levels that you can do this depending on your flexibility. So more accessible would be from here, knees together, feet together, and on the floor. Pick your bottom up and move it slightly to the left. Then bring both of your knees to the right. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you already, please bring your block underneath the outside of your right thigh so that your legs are supported. And you can tuck one foot underneath the other foot to keep your feet in place. If you have a little more flexibility there, you can take the block away. You will find that your left shoulder feels a little lighter away from the floor. Just let that drop down. If you really like this and you think that you could stretch the left lower back a little more, then bring your knees up, cross the left leg over the right and come back down again. And again, you can put the block underneath your knees or even closer towards your body for a bit more lift as you stay here. And then try and relax your feet and relax your shoulders and your arms, your head. Make sure that your head is in between your shoulders. And again, come into that visualization of breathing into your left lung, and that your left lung is all the way down into your left knee. You can even bring more purpose into your breathing in through your left nostril. The left side of your body lengthening and softening, particularly the left lower back. Imagine that you're breathing a golden light into the left lower back. Every time you inhale, that light intensifies with more energy, more warmth, more brilliance, soothing and nurturing any discomfort that might be there. Now coming to the other side, push your feet down, inhale, bring your knees up from whatever position they were in. If your legs were crossed, uncross them, bring your bottom back to center, and then cross your right leg over your left, or just do the parallel legs, move your bottom over to the right so that you can bring your knees down to the left. And again, you can use your block to put underneath the outside of the left knee or a little closer in towards your pelvis for more support. Choose the depth of the pose that suits you. You might find that this side is a little looser or a little tighter. Perhaps it's a little more uncomfortable and it needs a little bit more support underneath the knees. Come back into breathing into the side of the body, the right side, this time with more purpose. Imagine that your right lung goes all the way to your right thigh or your right knee. Breathe in more through your right nostril and visualize that golden light. It's behind the lower right ribs, in any area that you might be feeling discomfort. And if there isn't any obvious discomfort, breathe into the right lower back anyway. That golden light intensifying and charging up with every inhalation, bringing warmth, comfort, and ease. Now release the twist, push your feet down, inhale, bring your legs up. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. Shift your bottom back to center. And one last time, draw your knees in towards your shoulders. Left hand on left knee, right hand on right knee. Maybe you can even peel your tailbone and your lower back off the floor a little bit more. And if you want to do a little bit of rocking to the left and the right to compress the muscles that run down your spine, feel free. Now coming into Shavasana, release your legs, bring your feet to the floor, and then one by one lengthen your legs long. Coming into Shavasana. If you have an eye pillow, or even if you have a hot water bottle or a heat pack, you can put it on your lower abdominal area. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself as comfortable as you can. And stay in Shavasana for as long as you need. If you're worried about falling asleep, then set a timer. Make sure that your palms are facing up or in towards your body and that your fingers are loosely curled. Your legs are a comfortable distance apart. Tuck your shoulder blades under and rest.